Oh, hey, what's up? So I decided to make this very nerdy video. Like a lot of the videos on my channel, they're all pretty much nerdy. So if you're a stats nerd, a data nerd, you might appreciate this. So anyway, so as you can see on my anime list, they're scores. So what I have here is a Word document. So this is something I came up with on my own. I just looked at some numbers on my anime list, what was interesting to me, and I just compiled this data. I did this about a month ago. It looks like I did it from November 7th to 9th. The numbers have probably gone up a little bit since then, but the percentages should be mostly about the same. So the first thing I want to talk about, which is probably the most interesting thing, is so you have these scores. So this is a score of 9 to 10 right here, scores of 9 to 10. There are 12 anime that have a score between 9 and 10. And that actually, I don't believe that's changed. So if you look up here, I think we still have, yeah, we still have the top 12 and just 12 anime that are above a 9 out of 10. So that's pretty good. Yeah, so this is really hard. It's almost impossible to get up in this category. We're talking like legendary level here, above a 9 out of 10 average score. So there's only 12 anime up here. Now then there's the 8 to 9 category. There's about 574 anime in that category. It's very hard to get into this category. If the average score is above an 8 out of 10, it's probably a good anime. Not necessarily, you might not always like it, but it's probably a good anime. And I know there's a difference between an 8.0 and an 8.9. That is a very big difference, but in the future, I might spread these out into bigger. I may make like subcategories. But anyway, it's pretty interesting. So 574 anime up here, 7 to 8, you have a lot more there. There's over 3,000 here, about 25%. This is the percentage of all the ranked anime. So 25% of all anime fall into the 7 to 8 category. So this is where most anime you watch and enjoy are probably in the 7 to 8 category. Then there's the 6 to 7 category. Now, this is the hit or miss category. You might enjoy these anime, you might not. There's about 5,200. This is 39% of all ranked anime. Most anime fall into this category. Like a big percentage of anime fall into this category. And like I said, it's hit or miss. Then you have the 5 to 6 category. This is where stuff starts to get kind of bad. People generally do not like these anime. You still got a lot of them. There are actually a lot of anime that are obscure that you've probably never heard of before, that aren't very good. There's a lot of anime out there that's actually not very good. The stuff that you generally watch and people talk about, that's actually the better stuff. Like most anime, like doesn't even show up on the radar. You might not even be able to find it online. In fact, I would say half the entries in my anime list is stuff that you probably will not find online. So this is the 5 to 6 range. 4 to 5, this is where it gets really bad. You only have like 600 here. And the 3, anything that's like a 1, 2, or 3, there's hardly anything in that category. There's only like 2 anime that got scored below a 2. Anyway, this is really bad stuff. This is stuff you would watch as a joke. Like, this is not generally stuff you would enjoy. But still, there's people that give 10s to these. I think they do it as a joke. I don't really know if anybody would actually enjoy anything down here, but anyway. So, what's interesting to me, being a stats nerd, is that this literally follows a normal distribution. So it's very interesting when you see real life data that actually fits a normal distribution. So the median, like the mean, the average here, is between a 6 and a 7. So between a 6 and a 7, you've got 5,200 entries. So this is the middle. And then if you look at the 7 to 8 range and compare it to the 5 to 6 range, they're about the same. And then the 8 to 9 range is about the same as the 4 to 5 range. And then down here, you have the tail. Here you have 12. And here you have a little bit more on the bottom range here. But still, it is so close. It is very close to being a normal distribution. So to me, that's just amazing how that works out. So anyway, the majority of anime will fall somewhere between a 5 and an 8. You've got like, what, 50... what is that? That's almost 90%. Almost 90% of all anime just fits somewhere between the 5 and 8 range. So this is most anime. So it's just very interesting how it is, in fact, normally distributed. To me, that's just amazing. So yeah, I have a lot of information here. I think I'm just going to split this into like 2 or 3 videos. Honestly, I'm going to keep these short. So I think I'm going to talk a little more about these scores, and then, that'll be it. So the median score, this is a 6.47. So What that means is that the median anime is a 6.47. So there are 13,300 ranked anime at the time that I made the video. There are obviously going to be a couple hundred. There's probably about two or 300 more at this point, but at the time there were 13,300. So the median anime, so the one in the middle of all of those ranked anime, so somewhere in the 6,500 range, 6,600 range, that the median anime, that one has a score of 6.47, which to me seemed kind of low, but looking back at it, it does make a lot of sense. Which means that like any half the anime that are ranked are things you might not enjoy at all. Actually, if the median anime is only a 6.47, then what does that say with like the bottom 50%? It's even worse. So that this is the median anime score. Now, the average score that someone on my anime list would give to an anime is, I'm gonna guess, higher than this. Now, the reason I say that is because there is a high correlation between popularity and score. So if an anime is popular, there are probably a lot of people watching it. So now there are exceptions, but generally that's the rule. And then anime that are unpopular with low scores, unpopular anime, people aren't watching it, it's probably going to get a low score. It's not always 100% correlation. There are exceptions, I can show one good exception to that rule is that Sword Art Online is a 7.2, but it's the fifth most popular anime of all time according to MyAnimeList. So the popularity is high, but the score, people don't actually like my Sword Art Online very much, even though a lot of people have watched it. And then there are, on the other hand, you have an anime like, let me give you the opposite example, something like Legend of Galactic Heroes. Barely 300,000 members. So if let's say you click like Legend of Galactic Heroes, the rank is 11, but the popularity is only down in like the 700 range, which is still good. But the score is like outstanding, while the popularity is just like so. But generally, there's a high correlation. So basically, I was saying all of that just to say that if an anime, the average person on my anime list probably is giving out a score of about a 7 to a 7.5. If you just looked at like what's the average score someone has on my anime list, what are they ranking anime? My guess would probably be at 7.5. It's somewhere between a 7 and 7.5. There isn't really any data I can look up to get these actual numbers. I don't think it's available. Anime Plus doesn't really have, the right stuff. So, but I'm going to guess it's probably about a 7.5. If I had to estimate, it would be definitely higher than the 6.47. Because the popular anime are getting good scores. The unpopular anime are probably getting bad scores. Anyway, so 58% of all anime is ranked. So I'm gonna talk about this as well. That not all anime gets ranked. Now, what anime is unranked? So there's two categories of anime that are unranked. So in order to get ranked, it needs to have 100 votes. So these 9,600 other anime, this is stuff that's unranked. That's one category, but it also includes hentai because it doesn't get ranked. Hentai doesn't get ranked. So even if it's a popular one, it doesn't get ranked. It doesn't get put in the category with all the other anime. It's like a separate thing, and it gets put as unranked regardless of how popular it is. So that's 42% of anime. Now, most of this 9,600 is obscure entries. The hentai is only like 1,500 or 2,000 entries, I think. Most of it is obscure anime. So if it had, in order for if it doesn't even have 100 votes on my anime list for the score, then it's obscure. It's incredibly obscure, and you will probably not even be able to find it online. It's going to be some really obscure Chinese one episode anime or something, or some 15-minute commercial, or some something from like 20 or 30 years ago that got lost. So anyway, there's over 9,500 of these entries that are things you probably wouldn't even be interested in watching. I watch some of this stuff just for fun, as a joke, but it does get boring very quickly. Watching ramen commercials that are and all of that. So 13,300. Yeah, ramen commercials that for some reason get ranked, that get put down as an anime. So only 58% of all anime is ranked. The remaining 42% unranked doesn't get a score. So yeah, a lot of stuff isn't really good. And even in these 13,000 anime or so, only the top 5 or 6 thousand is probably stuff you would want to watch. Like if you just look at these scores, um, anything below a 6, it's probably bad. You wouldn't want to watch it. Like it's highly doubtful. Like something between a 5 and a 6, you might enjoy it, but probably not. Anything between a 6 and a 7, still, even if it's like a high 6, like a 6.7, 6.8, you might not enjoy it either. So a lot of these 5,000 aren't even that good. If it's higher than a 7, at that point you probably will like it, but of course not guaranteed. So if I had to make a guess, I would say anything that's ranked below 5 or 6 thousand, it's probably not something you would enjoy. And it's only the top 5 or 6 thousand anime in score that you would probably like. So anything below that, you probably won't like it. Like that, those are just the facts. So even though there's like 20 to 20, it was like probably at this point there's 23,000 anime entries. Maybe only like a quarter of it is stuff you would actually enjoy watching, and and we're talking about like potentially enjoy watching. There's probably it might even be less if you're picky. So anyway, yeah, I've said a lot. I think I'm gonna end it here because I don't want to keep these videos too long. But next time I'll talk about all these different categories and the characters and the companies, and then like I have a lot of other stuff to talk about, a lot of really nerdy stuff. So anyway, I'll see you next time.